Polynomials, Section 1A, Multiplying Monomials. First we're going to talk about if something is a monomial or not. Monomial, to keep in mind here, has a prefix that is mono, which means one. So we will look at monomials in such a way that says you cannot have addition or subtraction, you can only have multiplication or division to be considered a monomial. And you can have fractions, but you cannot have a variable in the denominator. You can have a number, but you cannot have a variable in the denominator for it to be a polynomial. So whether it's a monomial will be, again, dependent upon whether or not there's only multiplication or division occurring and there are no variables in the denominator. So we're going to focus first on number 4. You have just division and multiplication going on, so that's good. But you have a variable in the denominator. So no, it is not a monomial. Well, it's a monomial because it's only multiplication and division, but because of the variable in the denominator, it's not a polynomial. So you have to have that part also to qualify. All right, next question, if we talk about simplifying expressions, we're multiplying two monomials here. This is a multiplication symbol. So we basically multiply numbers together. So in this case we would have 6 and 2, which would give us 12. And then the b's multiply together. And when we multiply, the powers or exponents are added. Now this here is considered to be a 1. So when you multiply, the b has now a new power of 4. So if we go down to number 11, now you have a monomial raised to a new power. Now when it's just multiplication or division inside the parentheses, the power gets distributed. But again, only when it's a monomial can you distribute a power like that. When you do that, you'll get 5 to the 4th, and you'll get a to a new power. Now when you raise a power to another power, you multiply. So 3 times 4 would give us 12. Now again, remember before when we were multiplying, we added exponents. So up here we added these exponents because the bases were being multiplied, and down here when we have a power raised to another power, you multiply exponents. So keep that in mind. Now it's up to you at this point if you want to go ahead and calculate 5 to the 4th power. So you could also write 625 a to the 12th, but I would take either. Next one's number 16, same idea, but we have a fraction. Again, it's a monomial being raised to a power, so we distribute that, but we also distribute it to the denominator. Everything gets affected by that power. So when we do that, we'll have 1 squared over 4 squared. A has a power of 1, so when you take that power to another power, we multiply, so now it becomes 2. D has a power of 3, raised to a power of 2. In that case, we multiply again, so now we have 6. So 1 squared is 1, 4 squared is 16, a squared b to the 6th. So it can be written that way, or you could write it with a squared b to the 6th in the numerator and 16 below. Either one is acceptable, so it's up to you. Our last one we're going to talk about is number 22, and this one has a lot going on. We have multiplication occurring between monomials. We also have powers that have to be distributed. So we have to do powers first. So 4 gets distributed to each one, which would give us v to the, again, power to a power, we multiply. So 20, b squared to the 4th is now to the 8th. The 2 gets distributed. Now negative 7 squared is negative 7 times negative 7, which is 49, positive. V to the 3rd raised to the 2nd becomes 6. B to the 4th raised to the 2nd becomes 8. And now this last one, there's no power out here, so it's just left as is. We don't have to distribute anything. Now again, these monomials are all being multiplied. So now we look at it, and we're back to what we had done before. We say, well, look at our V's. Well, first of all, let's look at our 49 and 6. If we multiply those two together, we get 294. Now we look at our V's. We have 20, we have 6, and we have a 1. We're multiplying across, so in that scenario we add them. So 20 plus 6 plus 1 will give us 27. And then B has 8, 8, and 3, which will give us 19th power. Typically we like to write variables in alphabetical order, but this is fine.